Hey everybody, this is day 5 of the KW Model 66-Day Challenge Thoughts and Questions. Today's topic is Think Big Goals and Big Models. Stay tuned. Hello, this is Cathy Naiser again with the KW Model 66-Day Challenge Thoughts and Questions. Today's day 5 and we're talking about thinking big goals and big models. So Gary Keller in his books, A Millionaire Real Estate Agent, actually still today, he researches highly successful and highly achieving agents. He talks to them. He looks at what they've done and what they do to be able to reach that kind of production and achievement. And then they put it together as research team and really noted that high achievers think the same. They have about the same 9 ways that they think. One of the ways that high achieving agents think is to think with a big Y. We already talked about that. So today we're talking about the second one. They think with big goals and big models. Now, big goals and big models aren't 2 categories. They're one category. They're connected. If you have big goals, in order to reach them, you have to have big models. You can't have big goals and reach them by doing little bitty models. You have to have big models. And if you don't even know what to have as a goal, but you start following big models, it will propel you into having big goals. And as you continue to go after them, you can reach those. So many newer agents or agents get into real estate thinking they want to make $100,000. They want to make that in their first year, or that's their goal, 6-figure income. And whether they say it out loud or not, they probably dream about it. They dream about it when they're in real estate school. They dream about it when they're preparing for their tests. And then they get into the real estate under a broker. They take their initial training and then they zoom off into creativity. And that may work for a while until it doesn't, like in a shifting market. Or they're a great agent, like I mentioned yesterday with Jason Abrams, who had a powerful business, but then just kind of powerfully realized that it all could have been so much easier and he could go so much farther if he had big models and big goals. I think that day may have changed his life in that class. So wherever you are in your career, if you're a new agent, if you're a capper, if you're a highly productive mega agent, what kind of models are you following? So I've heard Gary Keller say this: if you sell $2 million in homes, so that would be almost like a capper in most market centers. So you do about $2 million in volume. Then you probably have $2 million goals and $2 million habits, because you're getting $2 million results. So I'm going to read to you out of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent what Gary says here. If anything, the power behind having big goals is really about the power of acquiring big habits by beginning with the end in mind. The professional habits you build will either empower or restrict you. That's important. So new agent, producing agent, doesn't matter, mega agent, whatever habits you have, they're either going to empower you or restrict you. And what you must understand is that your habits will either serve as an empowering platform for the next level of your success, or as a restricting box, trapping you inside your current level. Big goals are about reaching your true potential. By focusing on big goals, you will be focusing on developing big habits that will always be appropriate to achieving your highest level of success. So then he says, it's really that simple. Your task is to internalize this concept that in order to become your very best, you will have to think big and have big models. The habits that you create will either help you reach your goals or hamper your attempts. Warren Buffett points out that most people discover too late the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. The habits you do today directly create the results of your tomorrow. So, what real estate habits do you have? What schedule habits do you have? Do you have a schedule? Did you look at it today? What can you do to improve your schedule habits? Your time blocking habits. What is your lead generation habit? Do you have one? What can you do right now to start a better lead generation habit? If you've been through any training at all, here you know the basics of what to do. We have taught you that in the courses. You have made phone calls. Let's look at this chart from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So these two continuums, this is production and this is time, your time, right? So let's say a $2.5 million habits. That's a $2.5 million producer in volume. That's probably, like I said, just over a capper or a capper. And you have these habits, they produce that. Now, to get to a $5 million production, you have to break these habits and learn new habits. You have to learn $5 million producer habits. And now you're in the $5 million box. And you're doing those habits. And if you want to get to be a $10 million producer, you have to break through these $5 million habits and get to the $10 million habit box. And now you're there, and you're going to keep doing those $10 million habits until you learn new habits and break through and learn $20 million habits, and then you're now in this box. And then you can learn new habits and break through that $20 million box and get in $40 million habits, and now you're a $40 million producer. It's funny, when Gary wrote this book, those were high producers. These days, oh my God, it's that multiplied so many times I can't even begin to think what some of the expansion agents are doing. So you could do this. This actually sounds kind of painful, doesn't it? Have these habits, break through, learn new habits, have these habits, break through, learn new habits, have these habits, break through. Oh my God, that's crazy. Or, right from the beginning, you could have $80 million a year habits, and you could start or higher, and you could zoom faster through those without having to break and learn all those new habits. Your production and your time for doing it is significantly different. And, oh my God, the eats, right? The eats. So I'm asking you again, what kind of habits do you have? That's telling you then what kind of models you're following. So let's look at the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book again. I'm reading from page 82 and 83. So it says in there, when possibility thinking supports a big why with big goals and big models, watch out. Anything is possible. Anything. So I don't care if you've not done one transaction, or if you've done 10, or if you've done 40, or if you've done 1,000. Big goals, big models, matched with your big why and a positive thinking, possibility thinking. Wow, that's a magic formula for anybody. There's another quote here on page 83. It says, so ask yourself this question. These are Gary's questions. When presented with a challenge, do you first think of the ways you could succeed or the ways you could fail? Right now, in this coronavirus situation, do you spend more time thinking about what can work right with your business or about how it's going to be hard for your business? what you can do well and what kind of traction you can make, or how this might not work out at all. Because possibility thinking is over here, right? Yes, there's get real, get right. And then it's get that possibility thinking, I can do it, and have big goals and big models and a big why, and anything is possible. If I want it, what must happen for me to get it? What do I need first? Where can I find that? Who is stretching my thinking? I'm going to go back to that day you got into real estate and you had big goals. Or for me, it was more the day I think that I first heard Gary Keller speak. I knew I had big goals then. I wanted to succeed in this. And then the market was shifting. I didn't give up. I didn't want to give up. Because I knew I could do more. Helen Keller said this, and Gary quotes it in the book. She said, one can never consent to creep when one feels the impulse to soar. So I'm asking you, not today where the shifting coronavirus issues are about. When you got into real estate 3 weeks ago, did you have the impulse to soar? That's still in you. That impulse is still in you. And if it is, you can't creep. If anything, you would probably get out of the business. And I'm telling you, with a big why, possibility thinking, big models, and big habits, and big goals, well, anything can happen. So I invite you to latch on to that impulse to soar today and start thinking, how can I improve my business right now? Sit down and make it. If I could do one thing that would make my business better right now, what would it be? You know, you can make a list. If you're like me, you got a lot of things. You got a lot of things you can do. Make a list and then say, okay, what's the most important one? And I will tell you, it's if you listen to Gary, it's lead generation. It's somehow getting face to face, voice to voice with people, connecting, lead generation, having real estate conversations, even in the middle of the shift. So this is day 5. And I'm here looking to soar myself and inviting you to do the same. Have a great day.